One of the reasons why I stopped acting is that I was always being compared to motherfucking Marlon Wayans. And I couldn't stand that shit. I was always being called a Marlon Wayans type. So I kind of like stopped even going on auditions and shit like that. Like, because that shit's annoying. I don't think I look shit like mine. But, Anyway, because I just saw that this thing where this little kid was being compared to Marlon by way of a teacher and how unracist they thought it was. And that's the thing about it. That's the real one of the insidious natures of our reality is that when you have a universal view of reality or are afforded a universal view of reality that is not forced to be seen through the lenses of race, it's easy to see things as universally funny. They're universally unfit. They're not, because the picture would not have been that bad. Just like Coolest Monkey in the Jungle. Wouldn't have been that, it's not that offensive in relationship to white folks because they have a universal fucking view of reality. They can see reality through the lenses of just being human, except for when they're around black folks. And then they have to look through the lenses of being the superior race, so to speak. And if that's challenged, there has to be some means to maintain this privilege, which is undeserved. You know, so the cognitive dissonance is to maintain the parataxic distortion that supports the fucking right to this privilege. But when you see something about black folks that challenges your parataxic distortion, like I actually had somebody say on my timeline that old girl actually looked like a monkey and she don't look shit like a monkey. I mean, she don't look shit like a monkey. I mean, she don't even look close to a monkey. It was a black person, supposedly conscious black person, who thought that Roseanne's motherfucking goddamn statement was warranted. Which is one of my issues with the conscious community is that we got a lot of fakers in the conscious community who come in the conscious community only in order to cause further confusion. Like if you read the Quran, and the Quran talks about Allah telling the energies, you know what I'm saying, prior to its physical manifestation, that humanity is going to be hard. And you might want to try something else before you decide to become human. Human is like, you know what I'm saying, that's going to be difficult. So why don't you think about that and go through the lower processes before you go up to that part where you're going to be, you know what I'm saying, incarnated as human, which is why I can't understand why incarnation is not a part of the whole, because it's insinuated within the Quran. So these people, these entities that came and became physical form, even the jinn himself being smoked before the fire, is a non-local representation of humanity prior to humanity's existence in metaphorical context, and that they would be, you know what I'm saying, that they would just come in order to be impediments because they just wanted to see what was going on. They just wanted to be nosy. And I feel like that's a lot of conscious communities. A lot of conscious community members of the conscious community just want to be in it just to be nosy. They just want to be an impediment. They just want to say shit that they know is left pocket that ain't got shit to do with nothing that's real, and then cloak it within this shroud of pseudo fucking consciousness, and that in itself is more detrimental than the most unconscious individual is the individuals who fake consciousness, fake awareness. If you don't really want to be down, you don't really want to be down, and just leave it at that. You don't really want to be down, but that's again narcissistic personality disorders. They're gonna try to be down in order to, you know what I'm saying, perpetuate that narcissistic personality disorder. But again, perspectives, racial perspectives are something that are restricting in in reality. I mean, they're very restricting. I'm sorry, I'm sitting here trying to get something up at the same time while I'm doing this, but they're very restrictive. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to see my hands over the mic because yesterday when I came, I recorded some shit. It didn't post or whatever. But because I was talking about Buddhism and again ethnic agendas and why possibly Elijah Muhammad did, as far as supreme wisdom and message of the black man, wanted black people not to be distracted by Buddhism, or didn't want us to involve ourselves with Buddhism. And I feel personally, because of the ethnic agenda that would have been associated with it. And it's kind of like even insinuated in the literature that he was more concerned with the ethnic agenda associated with the teaching than the teaching themselves. That once you learn Buddhism, then you would of course take on, if from the source that you learn Buddhism, you would take the ethnic agenda associated with it. And I can say that about the Krishna conscious movement within the black community. I know a lot of black members of the Krishna conscious. As a matter of fact, I think there's Brother Wisdom, who is a very profound brother and has made incredible contributions to the community. Turned a lot of brothers to vegan or vegetarian, and but at the same time, when you talk about Hare Krishna conscious movement or the conspiracy, it still has a Hindu ethnic agenda associated with it, and you have to take upon that ethnic agenda when you learn the religion from that source. And you're going to dress, you're going to use the language, you're going to Hare Krishna, which is Vedic language. You're going to take upon Vedic dress. You're going to use Vedic tools in order to meditate and so forth and so forth. So therefore, you're going to adapt the Hindu ethnic agenda associated with that religion. So that's my clarification of why he didn't want us to learn these, and we weren't ready for them, for one thing. You know what I'm saying? And there was a process, that I think that Elijah Muhammad himself knew. Because as he progressed, his teachings progressed. It's not like his teachings were stagnant. That he was willing to accept new information all the time, even if it contradicted older information. So that kind of is an unfortunate aspect of, I think, current North American traditional leadership, is that it's not willing to accept new information, even though it might contradict old information. So, and that's something that is kind of like, I don't know, something that we need to do as a people. Personally, I ran out of fucking papers, and I'm trying to find papers. I thought I had some papers, and that's kind of like annoying that I ran out of papers, and I got to get up and go get some papers before I can smoke. And that's like, ugh. But anyway, that's my coffee. So that's my cultural argument, and then my ethnic argument. I'll just be saying shit I don't know. And sometimes I'll talk about fucking basketball tomorrow. I might talk about boxing, this man, and how fucking heavyweight boxing has gone the way of the fucking dub. And just like boxing period is kind of like over. I think it's going to be more MMA, future. And then a lot of MMA fighters are going to have to learn boxing in order to be able to box. Even the octagon needs to be boxed in order for you to be able to be an effective, pugilist within that arena. That's why Floyd Mayweather beat your boy McGregor, is because he could box. Not just be able to box, but he could box. He could grid the actual the surface in which they were fighting. He controlled the ground. And boxing, that's what boxing teaches you in relationship to other martial arts. It teaches you how to control the ground. That's really what it is. Boxing is actually boxing the ground. It's creating a grid in which you control over your opponent. And McGregor wasn't really aware of boxing, of maintaining his space. So fucking Floyd would just take space. And then once he took space, he dominated space, and therefore, McGregor wouldn't have anything to do. He would get his ass fucked up, because the ability to dominate space is a method to boxing that's not necessarily in mixed martial arts. Even though there are forms of boxing in martial arts, like Chinese boxing that utilizes kickboxing, utilizes Jeet Kune Do also utilizes boxing techniques in order, as far as controlling space. But for the most part, mixed martial artists don't know about controlling space. All right.